Hello everyone. So today we are going to do a little demo on the tool. Police barrier or Vauban barrier, which is available on our website. So the first thing to do is that I will select the tool police barrier and I will come to place it on my drawing. Here we have a preference window that opens. We will look at that a little later. You can leave it like that for the moment. We will validate we have our barrier placed correctly on the drawing. In the resource management you will directly find a folder police barrier with all the symbols used by the tool. Here a worksheet, so we will come back later, and then a record and two textures that also serve for the barriers. So now that we have placed our barrier, we will be able to modify it a little as we want. So we will select our barrier and then we will be able to choose different parts. For our barrier we will start with the part 1 with here the choice of the symbol that we want to place on the drawing. So basically it is the size of our barrier, so you have the choice between 2 meters or 2.5 meters barriers, and if I go to 2.5 meters we can see the barrier changed. Well, here we will be able to select a length of barrier that we want. If for example I want 25 meters, automatically the tool will draw my 25 meters of barriers. We also have here a rotation possible, so here it will be the rotation of this part. So for example 15 degrees, and we can see that we had a rotation of 15 degrees compared to the x-axis. We will come back to 0, then we have an option that allows you to add loops, so we will go to 3D to see a little what is going on. So here the option to add a base cover option, you can put yes, and there all your barriers will be covered directly. And a last option, you can add logos on the barrier. Also for this it is enough to activate it, and here we can see that we have the logos that have appeared. You will be able to also modify here the symbol of the logo that you find in the resource management. Here we have the logos for the 1.80 meter banners, and here the logos for the 2.30 meters banners. So it corresponds here for a barrier of 2 meters and here for a barrier of 2.50 meters. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the 2.30 meters, and it allows me to update my logos directly. If you need to modify the logos, there is no problem. You select the resource in the resource manager and you will directly edit the 3D components, and there you can add your logos or delete them as you like. Then we will be able to move on to part 2. So part 2 is simply barriers that will start again from the end of your first part. So there it is the same. We always have the choice of the symbol and the length. So let's suppose that we need 2 barriers of 2 meters with a length of 20 meters and a rotation. We will put 90 degrees, and there we have our second part, which is drawn directly. You can also by selecting the barriers, add banners or add the logos as you wish, and you will be able to continue to draw like that with part 3, part 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 8, up to 10 parts in total. So there we will put 10 meters. Okay, we will put a rotation to -90, and there you see my third part, which is drawn directly on my drawing. So there, as I told you, you can do all the parts up to 10. We will go back in 2D because now we are going to look a little bit at the options we have here at the bottom. So we are already offered to create a label, so we will select, and we have here, well, a recap of the number of barriers used. So from 2.50 meters 10, and from 2 meters 15, and we can also, so yes, the label, sorry, is movable here, and we also have here display the parts, which allow us in 2D only to display our parts, our different parts on the drawing, which allows us to find ourselves here in the info object palette which part we want to modify. We have one last option here, which is the placement. It is simply to give a name of placement to your barriers, finally to your series of barriers rather. So here we are going to call it, for example, just test demo. We will validate, and we then have a last option, which is the reset rotation. This one, it will put back to 0 all the rotations that you have here in your different parts. If I select it, it will put me back my parts completely right. So here is nothing complicated, rather simple to take in hand. We are going to look now at the last thing, that is the worksheet that is provided with here. We are going to install it on the drawing here. It remains only to recalculate, and we also have a little recap of the type of barrier used by the number and the approximate weight for our barriers. Here it is a completely modifiable worksheet. If you want to modify it, there is no problem, you can do it as you want. Here it is about everything for this demo. It is therefore available on our website. I will leave it there. Thank you all. Goodbye.